Alright, so I originally wasn't actually looking out for this pair of sneakers until a bunch of you guys said you need to look out for these, you need to get them in. So I did, and I was actually pleasantly surprised with how nice these are. I will say that even just the fact that people were asking me about this sneaker was pretty interesting, and we'll get into that in just a minute, but first, I gotta show you the pair of shoes. So let's take a look at today's pair of sneakers, guys, and of course that is the Jordan 1 Low Mocha. Alright, so as you can see before us, guys, we have a regular Jordan 1 Low box, something that we see with pretty much all of the baseline Jordan 1 Lows, including Jordan 1 Mids as well. You've got the all over black box, the golden Jumpman logo, but let's pop these open, let's see what we're working with. Telling you this colorway is very clean, and of course it is the Jordan 1 Low Mocha. Now you do get an extra pair of laces to match the Sockliner. This comes in a kind of salmon or pinkish color. So here we go, yet another solid colorway for the Jordan 1 Low model here in 2021, and yet another Jordan 1 which is riding off of the back of, I guess, the Mocha wave or the Travis Scott 1 wave. Whether it was Travis who made this color blocking pretty popular or whether it's just a Jordan brand thing, either way I will say that this specific Mocha is a little bit different to other colorways. But before we get into all of that, of course, let me give you some release details. These actually drop on November the 19th. Specifically out in the US, these already had a kind of shock drop release here in the UK. Now, I'm not too sure whether other regions also had a shock drop like we did here in the UK, so the best thing to do is check your Nike app. I don't think these are going to be dropping on the Nike sneakers app, but maybe check there as well just to be sure. But like I said, November the 19th for you guys out in the US, and of course the retail price is coming in at the regular £110 here in the UK, or $110 if you're out in the US. Here's a quick color comparison, right? You can see the difference between the Jordan 1 Mocha and this low version. This low one is actually a completely different color. This one almost seems a little bit greenish when you actually put it side by side to this one. This is a lot more of, I guess, a truer brown color. It's also important to mention that Nike actually doesn't call these the Mocha Jordan 1, they call these light chocolate, so maybe it's not even really an attempt to mimic the other Mocha style colorways of the Jordan 1. Either way, it is still a very nice colorway, and it is still very apparent that people like it as well. And I think this specific tone of brown works really well with the white sail that spans across the upper of the sneaker, and also the mix of the apricot, salmon, or slightly pinkish tone on the Sockliner. Now again, it is still important to mention that Jordan 1 Lows haven't always been a very popular Jordan model. In fact, they've always pretty much been lumped in the same category as Jordan 1 Mids, something that people don't really like. We only mess with the retros, the high versions. However, recently, specifically here in 2021, we've seen more and more collaborations on the Jordan 1 Low. We've also seen more amazing colorways, and that has definitely contributed to the hype building on the Jordan 1 Low silhouette. Now this one's definitely different to two of my favorite Jordan 1 Lows that released this year, the Neutral Grays and the Starfishes. Those ones seem to be almost just literally a low version of a high Jordan 1, and this one just seems to be a Jordan 1 Low. Now if that doesn't really make sense, let's start with one of my least favorite things about this specific Jordan 1 Low, and that is the tongue. Obviously this tongue is very different from a regular pair of Jordan 1s. The stitching is completely different, even the padding is slightly different. Of course, it comes in solid black with just an embroidered Jumpman logo at the top. Regular Jordan 1 tongue, we would see a little bit more stitching moving throughout. It's also a little bit softer. This one seems a little bit more rigid, and of course you would get a tongue tag at the top. Now, I'm not really one to nitpick that much and really dislike a sneaker just because of the tongue, but I really do not like the look of that tongue. However, for this pair of sneakers, for this colorway, it's not a deal breaker. Now, another thing that is also present on this pair of Jordan 1 lows that I don't really like is the material quality. Of course, yes, this has pretty bad leather on the toe box and the mid panels. It feels pretty plasticky, so I can't imagine these are gonna crease very gracefully. They're probably gonna have a huge line which de-shapes the actual structure of the sneaker itself. But again, the colorway is very clean. Now, something I don't really mind is the overlays. So everything you see here in brown is a nice, I guess, suede feeling material. Even though it's not the most premium feeling material, it is relatively soft, so I don't particularly mind that. But like I said, this brown suede you find around the mudguard of the sneaker, the eye stays around towards the back, and then of course the Nike swoosh. You do get some more of that suede feeling material around the ankle area, and that comes in black. And then of course for the base layer of the sneaker, you get the white leather material, and that comes on the toe box, the medial lateral, and that again is pretty plasticky feeling. Round towards the back of the sneaker, you get the Air Jordan Wings logo. Now this I wish was embroidered, however it's just painted on in kind of a silver color. Now something very interesting is the Sockliner and the reverse of the tongue. First off, again, this is a kind of a salmon pinkish color. However, this one kind of has a quilted aspect, which is very different. It does look pretty cool. I'll say that it kind of gives it a little bit more of a premium aspect to it, but again, it's a little bit left field, and I guess it kind of goes with this colorway, but it's a bit weird. As for sizing, I would recommend true to size. That's what I did with this pair, and it fits me perfectly. Now look, I want to level with you guys. I am a person who really appreciates nice feeling materials on a pair of sneakers. It can take a sneaker from here all the way up to there. For me personally, you know, if I'm going to be spending a decent amount of money on a pair of shoes, I want to feel like I'm getting my money's worth with great feeling materials. I want it to feel premium. I want it to feel great. Now this sneaker doesn't particularly have that factor. You're gonna feel immediately this doesn't feel up to par with some other Jordan 1s, and that's saying something. Jordan 1s typically don't have the greatest leather. Well, this one has a step below that. Now again, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a deal breaker. If you got these for retail, I think it's a very solid colorway that goes with a lot of different outfits and looks really, really cool. If you're someone who doesn't really care about the materials, if you don't really care about the craftsmanship of your sneakers, if you just like the way that they look, I would say this is a solid colorway of a Jordan 1 low. But again, it's a very subjective decision, and you guys are gonna have to make that for yourself. All I gotta say is it's a very nice colorway. I wish they did go a little bit extra with the materials. I wish they just put some better feeling materials on here, but they didn't, so it is what it is. I think it's a solid colorway. Just not really my favorite Jordan 1 that I've seen. But with that being said, guys, I gotta ask you, what do you think of the Jordan 1 Low Light Chocolate or Mocha, whatever you want to call these things? Let me know down in the comment section. Love to hear your opinion on this one. But that pretty much wraps it up for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for coming through, hanging out for yet again another video. Thank you for liking, commenting, and of course subscribing. Catch you guys in the next one. But until then.